What happens when you are offered your absolute wildest dream, but it costs you everything that truly matters? Today, we are breaking down one of the most intense negotiations in ancient history, a mortal man arguing with God to save the future of his people. Let's step into the tent.
We are dropping right into the devastating aftermath of the golden calf fiasco. The dust has barely settled on the shattered tablets, and God lays down the ultimate, heartbreaking law. He tells Moses, "You can have the promised land. I will even send an angel ahead to drive out your enemies, but I am not going with you." The stakes of the entire Exodus just went through the roof. How exactly does a mortal man appeal a final divine decision? The Israelites are suddenly handed their wildest dream and their absolute worst nightmare rolled into one single decree. They are guaranteed the beautiful land flowing with milk and honey, complete with a divine hitman to clear out their enemies. But the catch is catastrophic. They lose the giver of the gift. To their credit, the people understand this instantly. It is a massive spiritual catastrophe. They strip off all their fine jewelry in deep mourning, realizing that paradise without God isn't paradise at all. With the entire camp in mourning, the spotlight shifts away from the chaos and settles on the tent of meeting. Moses pitches this simple tent well outside the main camp. It isn't the fancy golden tabernacle. It is a dedicated, quiet, highly personal space for communication far away from the noise of the rebellion. Whenever Moses walks out to this tent, the whole nation stops, stands at their tent doors, and watches in awe as the thick pillar of cloud comes down. What happens inside that tent is the absolute key to this entire story. The relationship isn't described as a terrifying king talking down to a lowly, trembling servant. The ancient text explicitly says they speak face to face, as one speaks to a friend. It is a stunning, unprecedented level of intimacy, and it is exactly that deep foundational friendship that gives Moses the standing and the courage to do what he is about to do. He steps into the role of the advocate. Moses goes in to argue for the very survival of his people, but he doesn't come in hot, waving a list of arrogant demands. He begins with the relationship itself, pleading, "Let me know your ways." Then he masterfully pivots to God's own reputation, reminding him, "Remember that this nation is your people." He strategically boils their entire identity down to one single thing: God's presence. Without it, they aren't a chosen nation. They are just another lost, wandering tribe in the desert. Then Moses makes an incredibly bold move. He lays down a high-stakes ultimatum, declaring that the promised land is completely worthless without the presence of the Lord. He essentially says, "We would rather stay right here and die in this barren desert with you than go to that perfect, luxurious land without you." And the desperate strategy works. The crisis is miraculously averted. God reverses the decree, promising, "My presence will go with you." Moses has officially won the greatest negotiation in history. Having just secured the future of the nation, Moses decides to push his luck one step further. He makes a staggering, impossible request. He asks to see the full, unfiltered glory of God. But there is a fundamental, unbending rule built into the fabric of the universe. To see God's actual face is to die instantly. It would be like staring directly into a supernova with the naked eye. Human flesh simply cannot survive the raw, unshielded exposure to the divine. However, because of their unique friendship, God comes up with a brilliant creative workaround to grant the request while keeping Moses completely safe. God places Moses inside a deep crack in the rock, a cleft, and uses his own divine hand as a physical shield. He lets his blazing glory pass by, removing his hand just in time for Moses to see his back. Moses gets a breathtaking glimpse of the after effects, the trailing edge of glory, but the full, consuming mystery remains beautifully protected. All right, we've witnessed a devastating ultimatum, a masterful negotiation, and a hidden glimpse of glory. Now let me leave you with two questions to sit with. First, if you were offered your absolute greatest dream, but it meant losing God's presence in your life, would you still take it? Second, Moses had to lead an entire nation based on a partial glimpse. Are you willing to step forward in faith even when you know you've only been given a fraction of the picture? Take a moment, breathe, and let them sink in.